Have you ever realized how absurd contemporary life actually is? There's something profoundly strange about the world we built. Never before have we had so much access to information, and never before have we been so deeply confused about who we are. We speak of freedom as a birthright, yet we surrender it daily to the nearest screen. We have never been so easily manipulated. Anxiety grows everywhere. Depression spreads silently. Exhaustion becomes the baseline of human existence. People go to sleep tired and wake up already defeated. We live reacting to news, to algorithms, to expectations, to speed. But we almost never stop to ask, who is organizing our affects? Who decides what we feel? Because perhaps the greatest form of power is not the control of bodies, but the control of passions. More than 300 years ago, Baruch Spinoza perceived something radical. Man believes himself to be free only because he ignores the causes that determine him. Centuries later, Michel understood that modern power no longer needs visible chains. The modern subject participates in his own domination. He watches himself, exploits himself, disciplines himself. Spinoza called this servitude. Foucault called it subjectivation. But both philosophers discovered a path of resistance: the ethical work upon oneself, the organization of the passions. And perhaps this is a forgotten question of our century. How can one live without being completely possessed by external forces? How do you preserve an inner form in a world designed to manufacture obedience? This is not merely a philosophical problem. It is existential, political, psychological. Every society attempts to shape your emotional structure. Every human life is, in the end, a struggle over your own soul. Have you ever realized how absurd contemporary life actually is? There's something profoundly strange about the world we built. Never before have we had so much access to information, and never before have we been so deeply confused about who we are. We speak of freedom as a birthright, yet we surrender it daily to the nearest screen. We have never been so easily manipulated. Anxiety grows everywhere. Depression spreads silently. Exhaustion becomes the baseline of human existence. People go to sleep tired and wake up already defeated. We live reacting to news, to algorithms, to expectations, to speed. But we almost never stop to ask, who is organizing our affects? Who decides what we feel? Because perhaps the greatest form of power is not the control of bodies, but the control of passions. Baruch Spinoza perceived something radical. Man believes himself to be free only because he ignores the causes that determine him. Centuries later, Michel understood that modern power no longer needs visible chains. The modern subject participates in his own domination. He watches himself, exploits himself, disciplines himself. Spinoza called this servitude. Foucault called it subjectivation. But both philosophers discovered a path of resistance: the ethical work upon oneself, the organization of the passions. And perhaps this is a forgotten question of our century. How can one live without being completely possessed by external forces? How do you preserve an inner form in a world designed to manufacture obedience? This is not merely a philosophical problem. It is existential, political, psychological. Every society attempts to shape your emotional structure. Every human life is, in the end, a struggle over your own soul. Sad passions, such as fear, resentment, guilt, and jealousy, diminish our capacity to exist. They weaken us, producing exhausted bodies, impotent minds, and resentful existences. A sad human being is significantly easier to govern. Throughout history, systems of power have deeply depended on the systematic production of sadness, religions of guilt, politics of fear, economies of anxiety, and algorithms of indignation. These systems deliberately generate reactive subjects, trapped in emotional exhaustion. People lose the energy necessary for critical reflection, becoming entirely dependent on external authorities to dictate meaning for them. Yet, there are also joyful passions. Friendship, discovery, creation, and true encounters expand both body and mind, increasing our power to exist. They make us profoundly more alive. This is where Spinoza radically breaks with moral tradition. The problem is never pleasure itself. The real question is what that pleasure does to your power. Some pleasures strengthen us, while others slowly destroy us. Some encounters produce clarity, while others cause fragmentation. Some relationships expand our existence, while others imprison it, as Spinoza's ethics is not morality of sin. It is a physics of affects, a cartography of forces. The ethical question transforms completely. It is no longer, is this morally permitted? Instead, it becomes, does this increase or diminish my power to exist? With this shift, ethics ceases to be about obedience. It becomes experimentation, a lifelong investigation into the conditions that make a powerful life possible. To occupy oneself with oneself is not a preparation for life. It is a form of life. For the ancient Greeks and Romans studied by Foucault, the self was not a given reality, but a construct. Existence was raw material, and living meant giving form to that matter. Far from narcissism, the care of the self was an ethical attention directed toward one's own mode of being. The individual worked upon himself not out of sense of sin, but because human life is constantly traversed by external forces. The care of the self emerges as an art of composition, a quest to produce a more powerful life, to select encounters wisely, and to establish inner consistency while avoiding what slowly destroys the soul. Foucault calls this an aesthetics of existence, transforming one's own life into a work of art. This transformation required deliberate techniques. The ancients wrote journals, meditated upon death, practiced silence, disciplined the body, and examined their thoughts. These practices were not religious spirituality, but a deep labor upon oneself. Here, Foucault comes remarkably close to Spinoza. Spinoza would argue that the free person is not the one who eliminates effects, but the one who learns to understand them. To comprehend a passion is already to weaken its domination over you. Reason does not destroy our emotions. It reorganizes them. Perhaps this is the deepest lesson shared by both thinkers. Freedom is not the absence of forces. Freedom is a capacity to organize them differently. When Spinoza speaks of reason, he is not advocating for emotional coldness or repression. Reason is simply the capacity to understand causes, to perceive relationships, and to stop living purely through reaction. While the passionate mind remains imprisoned within the immediate moment, the rational mind begins to map structures. It deciphers why it suffers, desires, fears, and repeats its own destructive patterns. This shift changes everything, because the most dangerous passion is always the one we do not know is governing us. Awareness reorganizes existence, never completely, never absolutely, but partially. And this partial transformation is already an immense victory. For Spinoza, freedom is not about controlling the universe. It means increasing our power to act. It is a transition from passivity to activity, from reaction to creation, and from emotional captivity to true understanding. Foucault added a fundamental truth to this journey. This process requires radical courage. Constructing yourself means resisting imposed identities, fabricated desires, and normalized modes of life. To create oneself, to think differently, and to live differently are profound political acts. Perhaps the greatest danger of contemporary society is not that it oppresses individuals violently, but that it slowly renders them completely incapable of imagining another way of existing. Ethics begins precisely at this crossroads, when we start perceiving which forces diminish us and which expand us, which encounters poison our existence and which intensify it, which desires truly belong to us and which were manufactured for us. The care of the self is not narcissism. It is resistance. It is refusing to become merely a product of external systems, transforming life into a field of conscious creation instead. Perhaps this is what Spinoza and Foucault ultimately tried to teach us. Absolute freedom does not exist, but practical freedom does. A constructed, fragile freedom. One that is born when we begin to understand the forces that traverse us and slowly learn to organize our passions. Dear thinkers, if you want to stop merely reacting to the world and start understanding the forces shaping your life, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.
If you want to truly understand how your mind operates Punin and begin to live in alignment with what increases your power to exist consider subscribing.